Hello, hello. Got my coffee. It is a lavender latte today. Um, so what I wanted to talk about, because it's on my mind, is hospitals, hospitalization and mental health. Now, I have been in one myself and had to try and keep people in one, and both scenarios were were bad for me. Um, So I'll just start with my mom and I are both bipolar. My mom is no longer living, in case you didn't know that. Hold on, there's a kid right here. I don't want to get them in the film. Um, yeah, so because I hardly ever even like think about my bipolar, because at this point I do have a good handle on my issues. But like my mom, she had a very um severe version, and she did drugs on top of that. So she constantly was getting herself into drug induced psychoses, which as a kid meant that I had to, I guess I didn't have to help her. I mean, but that's what I did. I tried really hard to help her, and unfortunately, it never really worked out in either of our favors. Anytime that she would go into psychosis and I would try and get her institutionalized, nobody ever kept her because they want insurance, they want money. And it's extremely hard to get anybody to care for you when you're, hi guys, um, when you are poor. Um, that is just an unfortunate reality that we live in. You do not have insurance, if you do not have a way to pay, they don't really want to keep you. Now, when you are a child, you don't have a say. You don't really have agency. Um, in my case, they try to make me feel like I did have some sort of agency over my own situation. Um, Massive trigger warning. Still have lots of scars on both my wrists. And the day that my grandmother, I was 17, the day that my grandmother finally saw that I had been cutting myself, and I had been doing this since I was 12 years old. Um, it was a quick, let's take you to the psychiatrist, but in a very angry tone. Like she walked in on me and said, "What the fuck are you doing to yourself?" Not like, "Oh my God," like, "Oh my God, let's take you to the hospital, let's get you figured out, like, how could you do this? I love you." Like none of that. It was just all straight to anger. And it was something I was doing to hurt her. And then I got whisked away to my psychiatrist, and both of them talked about me like I wasn't even in the room. Didn't even ask me a fucking question about my own mental state. It was, well, this is serious. We have to get Mandy into a hospital ASAP. So I get taken over to the hospital, and they made me feel like, hey, you can get away from your grandmother, your home life for like a night or something. Like, you need help, obviously. Let's help you. And they were like, would you like to, stay with us for a bit, get a breather away from your house? Yes, please. Yes. Get me the fuck away from this house. Did not know that I didn't have a say in whether or not I wanted to really be there or when I left. So I get in there. It wasn't even like a, hey, can I go home and like think about this? No, it was a very emergent like situation. And I get in there. They immediately put me on a 24-hour suicide watch. Had to take all of my clothes from me, shoes, everything, anything that could be used as a weapon, I guess. I got put into this room that was right by the nurses station. So like you walk into the doors. I remember this like it was yesterday. You walk into the doors, and to the left was the nurses station, and then a long hallway with like rooms off the sides. So I get put in one of those rooms right like closest to the nurses station. Sorry that I'm shaking. I don't have my selfie stick with me at the moment, and haven't really taken my medicine for my shakes. Um, so yeah, I get put into this room, lights on. It was an empty cement room with a mattress and one blanket and a pillow on the floor. And you're just supposed to stay in there. The lights are on. The lights are on through like from the nurse's station, and there was just a little window so they could check in on you. And the door was locked. And I was just crying. Could not stop crying. And I was banging on the door to be let out. And every time that you had to go to the bathroom, take a shower, do anything, a nurse had to be watching you, which was very weird. And also, does anybody think that it is good for a group of kids in various ages? The youngest that I remember being there was 12, sitting in a group talking about their molestations in full detail. I felt extremely uncomfortable hearing other people's shit at the time, and I did not want to talk about mine in front of everybody. Um, and then here are the punishments. So you get punished. Yeah, I know that there are rules and like we're kids and shit, but it felt more like a fucking prison. Um, Felt like, in school suspension, I guess. So you have only one phone call a day that you can have. Um, and of course, that was to my grandparents. My grandmother called once and she wanted to keep talking to me after the time limit was up. And I kept telling her, hey, I have to go now. They're like telling me I have to go. So I finally hang up the phone, and it turns out I get in trouble for having my phone call go over time, even though I'm standing right there at the nurse's desk saying, hey, I have to go. I have to go. Grandma, Mima, I have to go. So I got punished, and the whole next day I had to sit in a desk in the hallway and just write out my feelings. Just write. That's it. Couldn't participate in any group therapies or any therapies of any kind. So tell me how that helps a child going through shit. Like, um, oh, because they were pretty full up, I was able to have a roommate. But of course, there's lots of like rules on how you can talk to other people, what you can talk to them about, how you interact. And I get that because we're kids, but it still was very like, hey, I wanted a hug. I actually wanted a hug, and I got a hug from a kid, and we both got in trouble. So out of a week and a half about 10 days of me being in there, I saw outside once. A little tiny grassy area with a big tall fence that you couldn't see over it. So we were allowed to go outside once the whole time I was there. Um, and then I get out finally because I realized that you have to kind of pretend that you're getting better. Because if you're not getting better, they're going to keep you longer. And I was already missing lots of school. This happened in the last like month and a half of my 11th grade year. So I was forced to do all my schoolwork while I was in the place and then continue that when I am an outpatient. So in outpatient, you go to the facility all day long and then you go home. Um, and at the facility, you have times where you go into a room and you can do your studies and stuff for your school. I failed nearly everything because just giving a person a bunch of work, especially when they're in the middle of a fucking mental breakdown, um, with no guidance or teaching or anything, and I was supposed to figure that all out. Yeah, I ended up going to summer school that year because of it all. And I passed all my classes, but it was just the fact that like I had to take all my finals while in a mental institution. I failed nearly everything. Which wasn't a very good setup for me in my senior year. My senior year, I ended up missing so much school that they almost didn't graduate me. Um, yeah. So when it comes to like hospitalization, I get very triggered. I always tell people hospital is the very, very last resort. Do not call the police unless on a welfare check. Like, I wish there was like better places to call for welfare checks instead of the police. Um, there's also a difference between being suicidal and having suicidal thoughts. Because, to be honest, those thoughts rarely ever go away. They've gotten less as I've gotten older and gotten a little bit more handle of my problems, but um, I still have thoughts of not wanting to be here. I'm not suicidal, but the thoughts, the intrusive thoughts still happen. Um, and I have largely stopped cutting myself. I, for the most part, have stopped since I moved away from my hometown to Seattle. I've only done it a handful of times, like maybe 4 times in the last, like, since 2005. And that is very, very good compared to where I used to do it once a day, every day, almost every single day. Um, more trigger warnings. This did not end me back up in a hospital because I was an adult by this time. But when I turned 19, on my 19th birthday, I did try to kill myself. My grandfather walked in on me and helped me. And ever since then, I have not wanted to do that. I've had many friends in my life unalive themselves, and just I know the destruction that it causes around the people or the people around you. And honestly, I don't want to do that to anybody. I want to fight for my life. I've been fighting for my life. If I wasn't in therapy, that means I've given up on my life. But I've fought really hard for the last like decade or so. Um, and I have not had any psychosis in a very long time, which I'm very proud of myself for being able to get through. But you know what caused a lot of my psychosis? Being chronically insomniac. Is that even insomniac? I'm just making up words. Ever since I was a little person, and I got molested at 5 years old, I have not slept. The pills that they give for PTSD, I've been on them. I'm on 3 milligrams. It's called Prazosin. It doesn't work for everybody. That's why like Liz got the shots because she's on that and it hasn't stopped her nightmares. They've largely stopped mine and have also made it so that I can sleep. And so if I get enough sleep, if I really take care of myself, it's easier to not go in psychosis, not get manic. It's insomniac and it drives you bonkers. Yes. Um, yeah, the longest I ever stayed up in a psychosis was like 3 days, and I almost ended up in a hospital. Um, but the thing is, nobody took care of me. I took care of me. Even my psychiatrists and psychologists that I would have growing up, there was only one person that I ever really liked that I felt like actually helped me. Um, uh, but even that, like I felt like I had to emotionally raise myself. I had to figure all of that shit out on my own. Any of the things that I dealt with my mom, it was all on my own. Um, there was one time that my mom, this will tell you how bad not my relationship, my mom's relationship was with her mom, my Mima. Um, she was living with us for a short period of time. I don't even remember what the circumstances were because I was really young. I was like 10. And so she was living with us, and I knew that she had seizures, but I had never seen it. And she had a seizure. I heard her collapse in the bathroom, and I went in there, and she was having a seizure. My grandmother, I ran to my grandmother and I tell her, and she's like, whatever, okay. And then she goes in there, and she's like kicking my mom, and she's like, Sharon, get up, Sharon, Sharon. I'm like, she's having a seizure. Like, what the? Like, I'm 10 years old, freaking the fuck out, being told to stop crying. My grandmother tries to drag her into her bedroom, because my grandmother couldn't pick her up, and just like left her on the floor. And I'm like, call the ambulance. My grandmother is like, fine, I guess I have to call 911. And she got taken away. And I'm sitting there having a full on panic attack and meltdown. And it was, just go to your room. She's gonna be fine. Just go to your room. I guess that tells you everything you need to know about my home life. I still have flashbacks to a lot of shitty shit that went down in my house. Um, Even with my new therapy and my new therapist, I haven't, I don't even think I told my old therapist everything. There's still so much shit to drag up, and I don't know when it will be done. So, yay mental health, yay trauma. But yeah, so that's all I wanted to talk to you guys about was, a quick story about my hospitalization and um my thoughts around hospitals. And I'm not saying that like all hospitals are bad, but we do know that there has been a large number of them, and for many, many years, not been great. The pushback against asylums in the 70s just landed a bunch of people on the street with no help. Um, the massive, like the biggest one in this area, still is in the news for investigation on staff abusing patients. And these are people who are like institutionalized patients, like probably for life because of their issues. So it scares me being locked away in a place like that. I want it to be my decision if I go to the hospital. And I have almost made that choice for myself again, knowing my last experience. But I'm also adult now, and it's harder to get treatment when you're an adult. But I do have good insurance now, so if it came down to that, we wouldn't have to worry about the money aspect. But I just hope that I don't get into a place again like that where I feel like I do need to go to a hospital, because that's when it's real, real bad. So I want to make sure, I've always wanted to make sure that the person who's having the episodes or the issues has the autonomy to say whether or not they want a hospital or not. And I've also had to try in 5150 people before. I've tried a 5150 my mom, didn't work. Tried a 5150 my friend, who now is sadly passed on, because I knew she had issues, and I was really hoping that the judge would listen and keep her for, at least maybe a month or 2 weeks, just so she could, I don't know. So yeah, I'm saying all this just to tell you a little bit more about my mental health and my ideas, my opinions on hospitals and mental health in this country as a whole. I know that there are nurses, that are good nurses, that want to be there for people who go into working at mental hospitals to help people, but it almost doesn't matter if you have good intentions or not, and you want to do your job properly. There are policies and rules put into place of these places that is systematic, and these places will have systematic issues that isn't up to the individual nurse that works there. They're just trying to do the best that they can. With all that said, thank you for being here and listening to me. And I welcome like anybody who wants to chat, if they've had an experience in a hospital and want to come on, and we can have a discussion about that kind of thing. Really, I'm here for anybody that wants a platform and like a friend to talk their shit out with and help each other heal. That's my main goal, is to be a supportive person and talk about our healing journeys and how all the tools that we can utilize to help us through our mental health issues. Because I know a lot of people can be very alone, and I felt extremely alone, so I don't want other people to feel that. That is why I'm on here again. And trying to enjoy having a channel to where I can talk to people about these things. So I am very appreciative of all of you who give me courage and support with your words, and to the really awesome people that I now am proud to call really close friends of mine, but maybe besties. Like, even if we haven't met in real life, there's some people I've talked to literally every single day that I know have my back. And I know that some people can like stand on their own, but I still worry about everybody. That's just who I am. I worry. I'm a worrywart. Maybe maybe I do need to calm down. Um, it's still a lot. Um, and I have trouble sometimes being a little too impulsive, and so I work really hard at taking steps back for myself and like examining and actually processing information before I say something. Um, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. Um, yeah. So again, my do I even have my email up here? Hold on, where's my brand? My banners. Here is my link tree, and you can get a hold of me on like other platforms as well. I check my Instagram like all the time. I'm on Instagram like daily. So if you want to send me a message through Instagram, um, that's the best place for me to be able to get back to you fastest. Email sometimes takes me a little bit if I don't notice it right away. Um, but yeah, like I want to open up my channel to those who want to come on here and chat with me about struggles and trauma. And it doesn't have to be like something extremely bad. Like, we're not going to do any trauma Olympics or anything like that. Um, Everybody who has had something affect them, it's real. It affected you some way. Now, when you learn about how you feel about something, there are ways to get you to compartmentalize with it better. That's what I'm learning in EMDR is I feel like um, it's teaching me how to healthily compartmentalize and not have to deal with everything right away, right now. I have to process this extremely hard thing immediately. Nope, I'm safe. I can put it away and then make myself safe, come back to it later, process it. It's not about shoving things down and like never processing it. It's about learning how to compartmentalize and prioritize the things that you know that you can deal with in the immediate versus like things that you need to process out more. Oh, I see. Oh my, I just realized that you know me as Oh Hell No. I had to change browsers to stop the invisibility issue. Okay. Oh, it's Oh Hell No, but with just acronyms. I see that now. Oh, I'm sorry that you had some block issues. Thanks so much, guys. Well, I'm gonna walk home with my drink and enjoy the rest of my day. Again, one more thing. I still want to do fun streams with people. And hi, Summer. I was just talking about you being my bestie. I didn't like mention you by name, but you know, Summer is one of my best friends now. Like, and the thing that I'm learning is how to accept people caring about me. Wow, I'm just really emotional today. It is really hard for me to accept praise or compliments or love because I just feel like you're tricking me, right? Like, you don't actually mean these things. So, with that, I thank my friends so much for like actually being there for me and talking things out with me like a normal person because I'm so used to people just ghosting me and like not wanting to chat at all. Sorry that I'm shaking so much. I'm holding my phone. um but yeah, Summer and I are going to be doing the first episode of this together, and I want to start like hopefully getting more people involved where I do episodes with music involved, where we talk about how music has changed our lives, how we interact with art changing our lives and helping us. And what would be the soundtrack of your life? Like, if there are songs out there that would be in a movie to your life, like, what are those songs? Also, like asking yourself questions like, what song saved you? Or something like that. Like, I want to really bring more art to my channel and bring a camaraderie with this community through art. And Laura is a really great artist as well. She's turned her pain into amazing music, and that's what art is there for. Art connects us. Art can help us and heal us. If we are nonverbal, which I've been before in extreme situations, having art expressing my emotions has always been very cathartic. So, oh, you are Jen Marie. Yes, yes, Jen Marie. We have many things to talk about because I want to get your story, and I also want to get, all my friends, movies that affect you. Yeah, like your soundtrack is long summer. Yeah, I'm hoping that maybe we can just do it in like 10 songs. Like, I know it's like hard, but like I've been deep diving into some old music that I haven't listened to in a long time, and just like, oh man, the flashbacks have been real. Not like all bad stuff, but just like it flashing me to like times where I'm like, oh, I remember this song and like how I felt when I was listening to it in the car on the way to like Pennsylvania or, doing something. I think the soundtrack to my life is a song called Stand by Rascal Flatts. 10 is not enough. Should we do 15? But we'll figure it out. It's gonna be fun. I've already started my list. Um, but thank you guys for being here. And again, I very much appreciate those that have given support to me, to the people I care about. 30-ish. You need 30 songs. 20? Okay. We can do 20 songs. It might be a very long podcast episode. Let's like 4-hour podcast episode. All right. Yes. Oh hell no. I know that I can rely on you. We talk in Discord quite a bit. Sorry, I just saw your message also last night. I wasn't on Discord until like late last night. How do you narrow that down? I know, right? Mandy, if you ever need a guest, I'm game. Awesome. Yes, of course. I want to start really scheduling these things out because I talk about them a lot, but I just really need to actually start scheduling them out. And unfortunately, with me and Jen Marie, we both have been having problems with our schedule lining up. Like every time we schedule it, something pops up and we have to reschedule. So eventually, Jen Marie will be live on my channel, and we're going to talk about the troubled teen industry, stuff like that. I would also like to talk to Summer about, Christian school, because Summer went to a Bible school, I believe. And I almost got sent to one of those places. So let me not get a person in the background. All right, guys, I'm gonna go now. Love you. Love you so much. There we go. Love you so much. And Summer, I'll talk to you in a little while, probably. I'm gonna head home right now with my coffee. Catholic school? Oh, yes. Maybe we should get a panel of people. I would love to get a panel of people who went to like Christian schools or Catholic schools or some sort of like Jesus-y school. I have an odd way that I coped with my abuse. Interesting story. Yes. I'm all about hearing people's stories and, how they got through them, how we can support each other, and how we can heal. Let's heal our pain. We need to heal it. And that takes a community. That takes support and love and compassion. And that's what I'm here for, guys. Compassion! All right. See you next time.